Tonight, charges filed against the Correspondents Dinner shooting suspect, Cole Allen from Torrance. We have live team coverage, including the legal battle Allen faces after being charged with attempted assassination of the president. But we start with CBS LA's Gio Insignares, who walks us through the day's events, starting with Allen's first court appearance. Gio.
Rutabaga, Allen did not enter a plea today and has no prior criminal record. And prosecutors are painting a picture of a man who didn't act on impulse, instead spent weeks meticulously planning this attack.
Cole Allen's journey of accountability in the criminal justice system starts today.
That journey kicking off in federal court in Washington, D.C., following Saturday night's shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Cole Allen is facing 3 federal charges: attempted assassination of the president, transporting firearms across state lines with intent to commit a felony, and discharging a weapon during a crime of violence. Prosecutors alleging he was armed with a 12-gauge shotgun, .38 caliber semi-automatic handgun, and 3 knives. Both guns were bought at California dealers and carried across state lines, according to investigators. Before the shooting, Allen allegedly sent a manifesto to family members outlining his intentions.
And that intent was to bring down as many of the high-ranking cabinet officials as he could.
Prosecutors say on April 6th, the 31-year-old from Torrance allegedly booked a 3-night stay at the Washington Hilton for April 24th through the 26th. Making the reservation 5 weeks after President Trump announced he'd be attending the event. Then federal officials say Allen organized his travel.
On April 21st of this year, he traveled by train from Los Angeles to Chicago and then from Chicago to Washington, D.C.
After arriving in D.C. and checking into the hotel on the 24th, less than 24 hours later, at 8:40 Saturday night, prosecutors say Allen sprinted through a security checkpoint on the terrace level, 1 floor above where the president and nearly 2,000 guests were gathered.
He ran through the magnetometer holding a long gun. As he did so, U.S. Secret Service personnel assigned to the checkpoint heard a loud gunshot. One Secret Service officer was shot in the chest, but was wearing a ballistic vest.
That officer fired 5 times at Allen, but Allen was not hit, according to DOJ officials. He fell to the ground and was arrested, never making it to the ballroom. The officer has since been released from the hospital. Meantime, Allen was treated for minor injuries and released into custody.
Anyone who thinks that Washington, D.C. is the place to act out political violence, we will find you, we will track your steps from the inception of your plan, and we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
Prosecutors are already signaling more charges are coming as this investigation continues. A detention hearing is set for Thursday. Then a preliminary hearing is scheduled for May 11th. Allen faces up to life in prison on the assassination count alone. Rutabaga.
Gio, thank you. While the investigation continues, we are getting a better idea of the legal angles of the shooting. Laurie Perez continues our team coverage outside the suspect's home in Torrance after speaking to experts about how the trial might go. Laurie.
Rutabaga, Cole Allen's Torrance neighborhood is still crowded tonight with media reporters out here outside his home behind me waiting to see if there might be any activity. We have not seen anyone come in or out since we have been here this evening. Tonight we spoke with attorneys about the case against him that is quickly taking form.
This was an attempted assassination.
With D.C.'s U.S. Attorney and the acting U.S. Attorney General starting to lay out their case against 31-year-old Cole Allen, former prosecutor Ambrosio Rodriguez says if Allen was his client, one of the first moves he'd make would be tied to the fact both Jeanine Pirro and Todd Blanche were guests at the White House Correspondents Dinner.
And I think that would be one of the first motions that I would do as a defense attorney, be like, the entire Department of Justice is disqualified from prosecuting my client because your bosses were potential victims and witnesses, and you cannot be impartial.
Next, he'd have Allen's mental health evaluated. He and other experts agree a mental health defense is likely, especially considering how extraordinary Cole's background is as a Caltech grad and a celebrated teacher.
What happened that my client wasn't able to go anywhere with having call it an elite education is an understatement. It's like Luigi Mangione or Ted Kaczynski, right? We have people that are highly educated from some of the most elite universities commit these acts of violence.
Former public defender Lou Shapiro says defenders will have a big challenge, though. That so-called manifesto Allen reportedly sent to his family.
But when you have an email where he's saying who he's trying to target and who he's not, such as the Trump administration, but I'm not trying to target Secret Service members or those protecting him, it shows someone that does have the ability to differentiate between right and wrong, or that has the mental capacity to show, I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, and that could really undermine an insanity defense down the line.
That, plus, he says, in this highest of profile cases, the court of public opinion will not likely be on Allen's side.
Chips are stacked against him. He does not have the sentiment of the nation. This is one of the situations where right and left agree that there is no place for violence here. And frankly, all sides of the table were put at risk at this correspondents' dinner. So I don't think he's going to be getting any sympathy from the court or from the prosecutors.
Now, prosecutors say Allen is likely to face more charges as the investigation continues. We are live in Torrance tonight. I'm Laurie Perez. Back to you.
Laurie, thank you. And we will continue to stay on top of this story as new developments unfold. Stay with CBS LA and CBSLA.com for the very latest.